So Adrian, what's next? Expansion? More risk? Nothing that slows me down. Bold. I like it.
What about the baby? That's got to change things. It's a distraction.
The room sparkled with power, crystal glasses, soft jazz, conversations worth millions, and standing at the center of it all was Adrian Cole. Sharp suit, controlled smile, the kind of man people did not interrupt. Beside him stood his wife, Lillian Cole, quiet, elegant, one hand resting gently over her stomach, 6 months pregnant. But no one asked her how she was, because in that room, she wasn't the focus, he was. An investor leaned in. So Adrian, what next? Expansion? More risks? Adrian chuckled lightly, swirling his drink. Nothing that slows me down. A pause. Then someone joked, what about the baby? That's got to change things. Soft laughter, all eyes turned. And that's when it happened. Adrian did not hesitate, did not soften, did not even glance at her.
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction, he said, casually, like he was talking about traffic. Laughter followed, polite, controlled, the kind of laughter that protects power. But Lillian did not laugh. She just stood there, still, silent, because in that moment, something inside her did not break. It ended. Not loudly, not dramatically, just completely. She looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time, she saw the truth clearly. This was not stress. This was not pressure. This was who he was. She adjusted her dress, smiled politely at the room, and walked away. No scene, no confrontation, no tears, just quiet dignity. That night, Adrian did not notice she had not come back, because the night went on. Deals were made, hands were shaking, images were protected, and by the time he got home, the house was quiet, too quiet. Lillian, he called. No answer. Her shoes were gone, her suitcase gone. And on the kitchen counter, an envelope. He frowned slightly, opened it. Inside, documents, medical reports, travel confirmations, and one handwritten note. You called our child a distraction. So I removed myself from your path. His chest tightened. For the first time that night, something did not feel controlled. He grabbed his phone, called her, switched off. The next morning, she was gone. Not just physically, legally. Accounts closed, contacts disconnected, location untraceable. Adrian sat in his office, staring at the documents again. That's when he saw it. A detail he had missed. High-risk pregnancy. His breath slowed. Then another line. Patient advised to avoid emotional stress and instability. Silence filled the room because suddenly this wasn't just about pride. This was about something he had ignored completely. He called his assistant. Find her. Days turned into weeks. No trace. But pieces started surfacing. A doctor who refused to speak but looked concerned. A private clinic paid in full. A quiet transfer of funds, not from his accounts, from ours. That's when Adrian realized something unsettling. Lillian hadn't just left. She had prepared. For months. Carefully, quietly, and he never noticed because he never looked. Then came the final piece. A call from a number he did not recognize. He answered immediately. Then, a voice, soft, calm, I'm safe. His chest tightened. Lillian, where are you? You've been busy, she said gently. No anger, no accusation, and somehow that made it worse. I did not know, he said quickly. I did not know it was high risk. You did not ask. I built my life around you, she continued. and you built yours around everything else. He closed his eyes. For the first time, there was no response. I'm not angry, Adrian. I'm just waiting for you to see me. His voice dropped. Please, just come back. We can fix this. You don't fix something by noticing it after it is broken, but you can learn from it. The line stayed quiet for a moment. Then she added, when this child is born, you have a choice to be present or to remain exactly who you are. The call ended, and just like that, Adrian was left with something unfamiliar. Not power, not control, but consequence. Months later, he stood outside a quiet hospital. No cameras, no investors, no audience, just him, waiting. Because for the first time in his life, he wasn't the center of the story anymore, and whether he would be part of it again was no longer his decision. The hospital was quiet, too quiet for a man like Adrian Cole. No assistants, no investors, no control, just waiting. For months he had searched, not loudly, not publicly, but relentlessly. And now he was here. A nurse stepped out. Are you Adrian? His voice caught slightly. Yes. She studied him for a moment, then nodded. She said you could come in. Not welcome, not expected, just allowed. He stepped inside slowly, and there she was, Lillian, tired but calm, stronger than he remembered. And in her arms, their child. Everything in him stilled. He had imagined this moment, rehearsed it, controlled it, but nothing prepared him for this. Can I? He started, his voice softer than ever before. Lillian looked at him, really looked at him. Then she nodded. He stepped closer, carefully, like one wrong move would break something fragile. She placed the baby in his arms, and just like that, everything shifted. The weight, the warmth, the reality. His chest tightened, not with pressure, but with something unfamiliar. Emotion. The baby moved slightly, small, alive, real. And for the first time, Adrian Cole didn't think about business or image or control. He just felt. I did not know, he whispered. Lillian's voice was calm. I know. Not forgiving, not accusing, just true. Silence filled the room, but this time it wasn't empty. I want to do better, he said. A long pause, then Lillian spoke. Then don't say it. He looked up. Prove it. Simple, final, unnegotiable. Because this wasn't about apologies anymore. It was about consistency. Time passed. Not days, not weeks, months. Adrian showed up. Quietly, repeatedly. Doctor visits, late nights, small moments, no announcements, no performance, just presence. And slowly, something changed. Not everything, not instantly, but enough. One evening, Lillian watched him holding their child, gentle, focused, present. She did not smile, not yet, but for the first time, she did not look away, because trust does not return with words. It returns with time. And Adrian, for the first time in his life, was finally learning how to wait. Years passed, not quickly, not easily, but steadily. The kind of time that doesn't erase the past, but reshapes it. Their child, Elena, was no longer a baby. She was curious, bright, observant, and she had his eyes. Adrian noticed that the first time she really looked at him, not like a stranger, not like a visitor, but like someone trying to understand. He had been there, consistently, quietly, school drop-offs, doctor visits, late night fevers, no grand gestures, just presence. And Lillian, she watched, not with suspicion anymore, but not with full trust either, because some wounds don't disappear, they soften. One evening, Elena sat between them drawing a small house, 3 figures. She held it up. Is this us? Lillian smiled softly. Yes. Adrian nodded. It is. Elena tilted her head. Why can't we all live together? The kind that does not rush to feel itself. Adrian felt it first. That familiar tightening in his chest. Because no boardroom, no negotiation had ever prepared him for this. Lillian did not look at him. Not yet. Because this question wasn't about the past. It was about truth. Elena looked at him again. Did you do something wrong? And there it was. Simple, honest, unavoidable. Adrian exhaled slowly. Yes. No excuses, no softening. I made a mistake a long time ago. Elena frowned slightly. Did you say sorry? A pause. Yes. She thought about it carefully, then asked, did you fix it? Silence again, but this time it was different because the answer wasn't words, it was yes. I'm still trying, he said. Elena looked at him for a long moment, then nodded, like that was enough for now. She went back to drawing, and in that quiet moment, something shifted, not dramatically, but deeply. Lillian finally looked at him, not at the man he was, but at the man he had become. And for the first time in years, there was no distance in her eyes, just consideration. That night, Elena fell asleep between them, a small hand resting across both of theirs. A bridge, not forcing them together, but connecting them gently. Adrian looked at Lillian. I don't expect anything, he said quietly. I just want to keep showing up. She studied him, longer than usual, then softly, I know. And that's why this is different. No promises, no dramatic reunion, just something real, something earned. Because redemption isn't given in a moment, it is built in time. And for the first time, they weren't building what they lost. They were creating something new. Together, slowly, honestly. Time did not rush. It never had, but somehow it had passed. Elena was no longer a child. She was 17, sharp, perceptive, and far too aware of the history that shaped her family. She had grown up in the space between two people who never fully broke, but never fully returned. Until now, the house felt different that evening. Not tense, not quiet, just waiting. Elena stood by the window. Are you both coming? Lillian adjusted her coat. Adrian hesitated for half a second and nodded. Yes. Three of them walking out together. It wasn't new, but it was not normal either. Dinner was simple, no grand setting, no performance, just a table and years of unspoken things sitting between them. Elena watched them both carefully. Then finally she spoke. I'm leaving next year. College, she added. Lillian smiled softly. We know. Adrian nodded. We are proud of you. Elena looked at them, really looked, then answered me honestly. That same question energy, just older now, sharper. Why are you still like this? No confusion, no innocence, just truth. Lillian did not answer because this time it was not a question, it was his. Adrian exhaled slowly. Years ago, he would have deflected, controlled it, shifted the moment, but not anymore. I was afraid, he said. Elena frowned slightly. Of what? He looked at Lillian, then back at his daughter. Of not being enough after everything I did. And instead of fixing it, he continued. I stayed in a place where I didn't have to risk losing it again. Elena tilted her head. So you stayed halfway? A small nod. Yes. She leaned back, thinking. Then she turned to her mother. And you? Lillian did not rush. I did not want to go back to who I was before, she said calmly. The room stilled. I built a life where I was strong on my own, and I did not know if letting him back fully in would take that away. Elena looked between them, two people still standing, still choosing distance even after years of effort. And then she said something neither of them expected. You are both still protecting yourselves. Silence. But you are not protecting anything anymore. That landed because she was right. There was no crisis, no betrayal, no uncertainty left, just fear, old fear. Elena stood. I grew up watching both of you try. A pause. And I think you forgot something. They both looked at her. You are allowed to be happy again. And just like that, the truth was no longer complicated. It was simple, terrifying, but simple. That night, for the first time in years, there were no distractions, no child in the middle, no time to hide behind. Just Adrian and Lillian, sitting across from each other. Are you still afraid? She asked quietly. He did not hesitate. Yes, but I'm more afraid of staying like this. She studied him. Not the man who broke her, not even the man who tried to fix it, but the man who stayed for years without guarantees. And slowly, something shifted. Not forgiveness, not yet, but permission to try again, she said softly. Not a promise, an opening. Adrian nodded, not relieved, not victorious, just grateful, because this time, nothing was assumed. Everything would be built from the beginning, but differently, honestly. And as Elena watched from the hallway, she smiled because for the first time, they weren't held together by the past. They were choosing the future.